Alrighty, I recently had an epiphany, a phrase that popped into my mind that when applied to parenting can have a really big impact. Today, I want to share with you a phrase that could change the way you parent. Hey you guys, I'm Cassie, and I'm really excited to have another kind of relaxed chat. It's just what I'm in the mood for these days. If you're curious what I'm doing, oh man, I'm sorting through readers. So these are all readers, so books for my kids. When you homeschool, you tend to just accumulate stuff in general, and in this case, books. I'm not gonna lie, when COVID happened, I kind of freaked out a little bit because we weren't able to use our library for all that time. Like, it was just totally shut down. And like, I panicked because we rely so heavily on the library. So I went totally crazy over those like couple years, just like, oh my gosh, well, I'll need a ton of books if we can't ever use the library, or in the future, you know, certain cases. Anyway, I have way too many, and some have been gifted to us, and I'm just on a major decluttering kick, so I'm going to sit and try to kind of sort through these while we chat. So, okay, the phrase, it's not you, it's me. So does that take you back maybe to your dating career or a time when you were dumped? That phrase is very common, right? And we all know the context. So usually someone dumping someone else or breaking up with someone else is telling them, it's not you, it's me. And the whole objective is to kind of spare their feelings and kind of ease the pain that they're in, while you basically like are saying you're not blaming them. So it's not your fault, right? It's mine, kind of thing. Anyways, I hope I haven't lost you. I have realized, don't know why that phrase popped into my mind, but it did. And I was like, oh my gosh, that actually sums up what I have been feeling and like trying to articulate for quite a while now, of just this realization that if something comes up with our kids, if there's a situation that I'm unhappy with, if I'm feeling really stressed or really triggered by something that my child is doing or saying, somehow I feel like it's their fault, right? Like, well, I mean, he hit his brother, so I'm upset. Or, you know, well, I finally lost my cool because they're just being so ungrateful. Or all these situations arrive like all throughout the day, right? And it's so easy for us to just think that it's that behavior that we need to fix or change, or it's that attitude that we need to address. And of course, that's accurate and fine. It is our job to teach and discipline when we need to and do those things. But I think we take it so personally, and we just feel like our kid is kind of out to get us sometimes, and we're trying so hard to pick all those battles with our kids that I feel like this phrase, so when that situation happens, so let's say my son hits his brother, and my immediate like fight or flight reaction is, you know, to go and address the situation, or to get super upset at my son who just hit his brother, or whatever that kind of tends to look like, to first kind of say to myself, to my son, you know, like, it's not you, it's me. This is my opportunity to show up as my best self. This is my opportunity to be the best mom I can be, and to just take ownership of me. So him hitting his brother is a fact, that happened, but everything I kind of make it mean in my mind, that, you know, he's out of control, or that he just never listens, or that, you know, he is just, I don't know, so belligerent, and like, you know, we say these really negative things in our minds that we make that, you know, him hitting his brother mean, when really we just need to see the situation for what it is and understand this is our moment to figure out what we're gonna do. So is this making sense at all? I hope this is kind of making sense. Usually I have thoughts really articulated and figured out, and it's things that I've been doing for years and years, but this is kind of uncharted territory, so give me feedback if this is seeming crazy to you. But I feel like we can really apply that phrase to any parenting situation as a reminder to own ourselves. So I feel like even breaking up with somebody, you're saying it's not you, it's me. You're just saying, like, I'm owning that I am choosing that this relationship isn't going to work for me, right? I'm not pointing fingers and saying, well, you did this, and well, you tend to do this, and I don't like that. It's just saying, like, hey, you know what? This is about me. This isn't the life I want, or, you know, things aren't just going well for me. Whatever that all means, it's good because I'm taking ownership of my own life, of my choices, and I feel like we can also do that in our parenting. Is that making sense? Is that coming across correctly? So let's kind of run through some scenarios maybe. So we talked about hitting. What about, though, maybe listening? So it's really hard to get your kid to listen, right? I'm pretty sure I did a whole video about that, geared towards younger kids, just making sure, kind of going through some steps of like making sure they're really hearing you, setting yourself up for success basically when we're asking our child to do something. But even as our kids get older, listening is a thing, right? It's a real thing that we recognize very quickly. They still have their choice. Like, they can choose to just totally not listen to what we're saying, or they can choose to not act immediately and get distracted, you know, and that's totally an innocent mistake. I mean, there's plenty of scenarios that just happens. Our kids don't always listen, right? So let's say our kid doesn't listen. What are we normally saying in our minds? Like, oh my gosh, how many times do I have to ask? Or maybe we're saying that out loud, right? How many times do I have to ask you? Or I've already asked you 5 times. Or I need you to listen, right? Like, I just need you to do that. And all of those things are justified, of course, but is that effective? I mean, that's ultimately where I'm coming at with this phrase. Times when things just aren't super effective, times that we are kind of hijacked and we're not in the best place, or times that we've totally exploded and are yelling at our kids, or times when we are just this close to losing it and just like final straw, you know, like enough is enough. So all of those moments are when I'm talking about, let's maybe change it up, right? Let's try something a little bit different because what we're already doing isn't working. So our kid isn't listening. What could we say? So what if we said to ourselves or our kid, we're kind of looking at our kid and thinking or saying, it's not you, it's me. Not listening is to be expected of our kid. We kind of wish it wasn't. That's just how it's going to go. We can expect that our kids are not going to listen all the time. We can expect that they're not going to obey, that they're not going to be respectful. We can really just expect they're going to fight with their sibling. We're going to expect them to test those boundaries. That is childhood. Any of us that remember being children, that is the name of the game. That just comes with the territory. So yes, we are here to constantly teach and love and kind of help them grow and learn those lessons. And at the end of the day, the ultimate lesson is for us to learn how to be the best parent we can be. Our kid is on their own journey of learning, of growth, of childhood, and we're on our own journey of learning and growth and parenthood. So if we can recognize all those moments are our opportunity. It's not our kids' opportunity. I mean, it is, but that's their own thing, right? We're going to let them own their own choices. But what if we just owned our own choices? So that looks like, in my mind, I need a drink in my throat. It's like practically gone. It means being at the top of our game. So I kind of talked about this. I mean, I've talked about this a lot, of just picking one thing at a time to be working on. It's kind of the whole idea that if we're constantly reacting to every situation, which with kids is constant, right? I mean, constantly they're going to be doing something that we could correct, should we so choose, which is just not that much fun for us or our kid. So I've talked about just planning ahead of time, picking and identifying the biggest like problem area or the biggest thing that we're struggling with and addressing that one thing. And then we can show up for that thing. So with listening, Easy. Let's just decide we're going to work on listening, which means we can go back into my previous videos if you've missed kind of those pointers, but basically you're never going to ask your kid to do something until you're ready to enforce. So if I tell my kid, hey, please go get your shoes on, and they either don't do it or they don't respond or they say no, we are now ready to go and help them get their shoes on right then. And that is going to over time reinforce, every time I ask you to do something, I need you to do it, or I'll just help you. It's not malicious. It's not like a rude, negative thing. It's just like it's important to listen. Like, it's time to go. I need you to obey. Anyway, if we just come as our best self and ready to handle those situations, we're kind of encompassing this whole, it's not you, it's me. I have my act together, so it's okay if you don't. I'm just ready to handle that, and I'm not going to be relying on you to basically take care of me. I don't know if that makes sense. That's my thought for today. Just give it a try, and I would really be curious to know in the comments how effective that is for you, because for me, it's actually been pretty effective. So try asking yourself, or even saying out loud to your kid, it's not you, it's me. Mommy just needs a minute. Mommy just needs to learn how to handle this situation. That would be really a good teaching opportunity, even for your kid to hear that and recognize that burden is not on them. They're not here to make our life easier or to make us happy. We are in charge of us, and we can do that for ourselves. You're doing awesome. Let me know if that works for you, and if that even made any sense. I will pan over this book situation if you're curious to kind of see the little bit of progress I'm making. Good luck, and we'll see you next time.